welcome to Season 3, Episode 10 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in ECW history with match number 41 on our list, which is the three-way dance for the ECW World Television Championship between the champions Super Crazy and the challengers Yoshihiro, Tajiri, and Little Guido from the April 14th, 2000 edition of ECW on TNN. So this is our second three-way dance on this list, so obviously, a match that ECW really helped innovate. It's no surprise that we're seeing quite a few of these show up on our list because it is that signature ECW style of match. This one is awesome, and the reason it's so great is these three guys are absolutely joined at the hips together all throughout 1999 and 2000, and we see so many variations on singles matches between these guys. We see them in three-way dances all the time, sometimes with one of the three being swapped out for somebody else. We see them in four-way dances with an additional competitor added, and the matches are always great. And really, these are three of the guys that carry the in-ring portion of ECW through 99 and 2000. But by the time we get to this match, we've seen it a lot. And, it's different watching ECW now where you're binge watching it, because at the time, you get that weekly break, and, if they're not fighting every single week, you're getting a match with these guys against each other, every couple of weeks, and it's not as bad. But when you're watching this stuff in such a high concentration like I was, by the time we get to this match, it almost becomes like, all right, enough's enough. I've seen these guys fight. But this match is such a different twist on everything they've done up into this point that it is great. It makes it truly stand out, ahead of the pack of everything that they've done previously. And it's absolutely great. And we'll get into that reason in a moment. The story here, though, is absolutely fantastic, too. So Rob Van Dam was the ECW World Television Champion. He'd been champion almost 2 years, undefeated as champion. Unfortunately, he breaks his leg, goes out with an injury, and Cyrus demands that Rob Van Dam hand the television title over to the network, which he does. Rather than the title be handed over to Rhino, which is what Cyrus wanted to do, Paul Heyman announces that there will be a tournament to determine the new television champion. Rhino makes it to the finals of that tournament, where he faces Super Crazy. Rob Van Dam returns unexpectedly, interferes, and helps Super Crazy defeat Rhino to become the new television champion. Super Crazy's title reign is filled with turmoil of the network trying to do whatever they can to get the belt off of him. Enter the three-way dance with his two greatest rivals. Cyrus has made deals with both Tajiri, who is a member of the network, Little Guido, who is not a member of the network, basically promising them both the television title if they're able to get it off of Crazy in this match. So because of that, we start out very, very early with, what we assume is going to be a 2-on-1 sort of situation. Super Crazy knows this. He takes them both out with a springboard dropkick before the bell, but almost instantaneously after that brief glimmer of, a handicap match sort of deal, Little Guido and his manager Big Sal turn on Tajiri, and we get the three-way dance from the rivals that I think everybody really wants to see. But this match is so much different because rather than, the technical high-flying mastery that these three guys are known for, we instead get an absolute bloodbath full of tables and weapons and blood and gore and heat and drama, and it's fantastic, and it's something very different for these three guys. All three guys bleed in this match quite early on, and they bleed in sort of different ways. So Super Crazy gets busted open when Little Guido gives him a face plant on the floor. Little Guido gets busted open because he has a chair kicked into his face by Tajiri. Tajiri gets busted open by a chair shot from Big Sal. So we've got all three guys bleeding all over the place. Big Sal has a bunch of interference spots that are all used so well. If you don't know Big Sally Graziano, he is a massive, massive 500-pound man, and the bumps that he could take were great just from his size. So There's a great spot where he misses a charge into the barricades, and Super Crazy proceeds to climb onto his back and hit a dive into the crowd on the other two. He tries to incorporate a chair shot once again, and Tajiri hits a signature handspring that he would normally do into a back elbow, but he does the handspring as an offensive attack into the chair, into Sal. Sal bumps off the ring apron through a table, which was awesome. The performance of Little Guido in this match is great because he always kind of feels like, I don't want to say the third wheel because he's an incredibly gifted professional wrestler, but Tajiri and Crazy are just so much flashier with everything that they do that I do feel that he gets lost in the shuffle. But here, they utilized him great. He had a bunch of great near falls, the blood, obviously. We end up getting a big, he's the first elimination, and it's a big finish that eliminates him, where Tajiri lies Super Crazy across the table, puts Little Guido under the table, stacks a bunch of chairs on top of Guido, and goes for a double stomp to Crazy. Crazy moves, so essentially Tajiri double stomps through the table onto Little Guido with all of these chairs, and the rivals, Crazy and Tajiri, both do a double cover to eliminate Little Guido. The crowd responded big time to this. They gave Little Guido a standing ovation as Big Sal carried him out. It was a really great moment, and Joey Styles does a fantastic job on commentary, as he normally does, just really putting over, the performance of Little Guido. He has some great lines in here too, talking about how this match started as a dance, but it's become a bloodbath, and really sells that this match is different than what these guys would normally do. The Crazy and Tajiri portion is really good, as you would expect. Super violent. They both dig like crowbars into each other's heads. But we get into the typical ECW overbooked, highly dramatic finish, where Tajiri goes for the mist. Super Crazy ducks. The referee gets it. That brings in the interference where Rhino comes out, attempts a gore on Super Crazy. Super Crazy actually leapfrogs the gore, which was a great little falsie off that, but then Rhino cuts him in two with it, hits the pile driver off the ring apron through the table. This was around the time where he started doing that move, and rolls him in, allowing Tajiri to get the 3 count and become the ECW World Television Champion. This would lead to a very big grandstanding promo from Cyrus, where he would talk about how Tajiri is going to hand the title over to the network at SummerSlam, again going back on what he promised Tajiri, being the new ECW World Television Champion. That would lead to Tajiri turning down, the opportunity to hand over the title and essentially leaving the network at SummerSlam, where he would lose the title to Rhino and officially turn face once again and start to fight against the network. But as Cyrus is cutting this big promo, he talks about how he's drunk with power, drunk being the key word that brings out the entrance of the Sandman, who has a very personal beef with Rhino, which we've talked about before, after Rhino, assaulted his wife at the Living Dangerously pay-per-view. So Sandman comes out, canes the hell out of Rhino. Tajiri spits red mist in Sandman's face. Rhino gores referee H.C. Loke into Sandman through a table. ECW at this point was establishing, heel and face referees, H.C. Loke being kind of the extreme official, the face referee, and Danny Daniels being the heel referee. So this kind of helped, really put some steam into that angle too, and that leads to Rob Van Dam coming out to confront Rhino, and a big standoff with the two of them as the show comes to a close, teasing that physical interaction but not actually paying it off, which again is something that ECW did so well with their weekly television, where they'd give you the taste but not, give it all to you and make you have to tune in the next week to find out what happened as the show came to a close. This match, full of action, full of drama, full of great spots, full of blood, hot crowd, great competitors, a great, story driven, throughout the match, into the aftermath, run-ins, overbooking. It is everything you want from ECW. It is a super fun match, and again, another one that I feel kind of goes under the radar a little bit in that TNN run. You can watch it on the WWE Network. It might be available on Peacock. I always say this, but you should be able to track it down online if you look hard enough. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50, and join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.